My name is Sean Connor. This is for MBA 639. My paper was titled "A Brighter Future with Less Biases," and I use one main source by John Knopfsinger, and that was The Psychology of Investing. I used two additional resources. One was from Investopedia. It was written by Tim Parker, and that was um, Four Behavioral Biases and How to Avoid Them. And then the last resource that I used was written by Shlomo Bernardsky, and that was Behavioral Finance in Action. The focus of my paper was on retirement investing and behavioral finance biases that go around the difficulty in starting the process of retirement planning, different biases that you face over the life of retirement planning, and some different like shortfalls, I guess, with retirement planning due to behavioral biases. So the psychology of investing was definitely my main source. So starting off, John Knopfsinger talks about the planner and the doer, and the planner is somebody that wants to save today for consumption in the future, and they're more likely to do the uncomfortable duties now and seek pleasure in the future, whereas the doer is somebody that wants to um, consume today and push off uncomfortable duties to the future. They want to have pleasure today. They want to consume today, and they are not interested in saving today. Like I said, so they'll save more in the future is the idea. Um, then that goes into the short term and the long term differences. And he puts it in. So there's two examples of this. One is so here's the scenario when dealing with the short-term decisions versus long-term decisions of an investor. But we're going to look at it not in a financial lens first. So an individual, let's say it's February 1st, an individual is asked, do you want to perform 7 hours of work on April 15th or 8 hours of work on April 30th? Most people would say, I would rather do the 7 hours of work on April 15th, and this is on February 1st, so 2.5 months ahead of time. But then the morning of April 1st, they're asked, are you going to do the 7 hours of work today or 8 hours of work in 15 days? And most people with a short-term mindset, they will postpone that work. So the difference is, when are they facing that situation? And the idea is that in the long run, if they're looking at that decision being in the long run, they make the rational choice. But in the short run, they don't make that rational choice. So in other words, in the short run, they decided to add an extra hour of work to postpone it 15 days, whereas in the long run, they did less work and just immediately got it done. So the way to look at this from a financial perspective is you ask individuals, would you rather have $50 today or $100 2 years from today? And most people would say $50 today, but they're missing out on about a 41% annual return by not taking $100 2 years from today. So that's the short-term problem. Whereas if you ask an individual, in 4 years, would you rather have $50, or in 6 years, would you rather get $100? And most of them would say that in 6 years, they'd rather have $100. So again, it's framing that question, because it really is the same question. The difference is, are you going to get it today, or is it going to be the same situation just in 4 years? When you add that long-term approach, you add that 4 years, they make the rational decision. In the short term, they don't. They make the irrational decision. So how you can apply this with retirement is something that Shlomo Bernardsky comes up with, which I believe Richard Thaler kind of started. He referenced in his work, but the work that I used was written by Shlomo Bernardsky. So save more tomorrow. It looks at the effect of having somebody being, a number of different things, but one, this idea of auto-enrollment. So let's back away from save more tomorrow for a second. There's a problem with retirement planning where individuals have either so many options, don't have the time to sit down and fill out the paperwork, or just simply are procrastinators where they don't actually fill out their 401k. When looking at retirement planning, you want to get your money in as soon as possible and let the time value of money, let interest work for you, and just get that capital and that long time horizon working in your favor, whereas people put it off and put it off and put it off. So one of the things to counteract that is auto enrollment. And when someone gets hired, they're automatically enrolled, and they have to do the opposite. If they want to get out of the retirement, they have to fill out that paperwork. If they want to change their retirement, what they're buying, where their money is, their portfolio, they can do that. Again, they would have to do paperwork to do that. So that's like the idea of auto enrollment. So that in turn applies to the Save More Tomorrow. So with Save More Tomorrow, you would meet with somebody, and you would ask them, at what date in the future do we want to start it, and then that would be when the auto enrollment would start, and then it would follow their pay scale. So let's talk about me, I guess. If I met with that person, I'd say, okay, in 2 years I want to start my IRA. So we already set it up. He has my bank information, whatever the case is, but that's when we're going to start it. And then, 2 years from now, it starts. And then say I get, 2 years after that, I get a 5% raise. My advisor would increase my savings portion by 5%. So as I go through my career and I'm making more money, the amount that I'm saving is also increasing. And this will better ensure that in retirement I'm better equipped financially to handle the same type of expenses. Whereas if I just started my retirement planning my savings at this rate, and then I ended my career and I was up here, how am I going to fill in that gap? Whereas this kind of looks as, I have an increase and then my savings increases a little bit. I have a little more of an increase, my savings increases a little bit. It's not dollar for dollar, but it's the idea that if my pay increases by 5%, my retirement savings portion would increase by 5%. And that would, automatically, the financial person I would just need to tell him, hey, I got a 5% raise, and he would adjust it. That's the idea of Save More Tomorrow. So today, starting off, when I meet with my advisor, I might not be saving anything. Or this could be through the work, but whoever's controlling that account, I might not be saving anything, but in the future I would be saving more money as my pay increases. So again, that would help with people procrastinating. That would help with individuals, they have too many informations, too many options, and they just get overwhelmed, so they shut down. And another bias is people are trading too often, so having that financial advisor, having that plan, something to stick to, and only touching your portfolio, once a year, only looking at the market every once in a while, not every day, not hourly, having a long-term perspective and matching your maintenance on your portfolio with that long-term perspective. Have a long-term mindset when you're investing for 20, 30, 40 years. Don't have a day-to-day mindset and invest for 20, 30, 40 years, because then you're going to see losses and you're going to, want to take your money out. So that's a little bit about what I wrote in my paper. Thanks.